Hello, I'm Akhtar, and you're watching my YouTube channel Shirley Art Views. Today, I'm here to make a book review. So, the book that I recently read was The Clash of Fundamentalism by Tariq Ali. Tariq Ali is a very famous author, and he has written more than a dozen books. He's basically from Lahore, but he lives in London. So, the book is The Clash of Fundamentalism. As you can see, it is with me, and I read it in like a month in this summer vacations. So this book, I would recommend it if you're a student of IR, or if you're interested in politics, or if you want to understand the politics behind U.S. imperialism. If you want to understand, different, strategies that countries are employing to sort of, get their own interest. So Tariq Ali in this book talks about, he's very, I would say, critical of the Western world as well as the Muslim world. Like, what's wrong with the Muslim world and what are they lacking? He's brutally honest. I would say very neutral and objective in his analysis. And at the same time, he talks about the Western world and their hypocrisy. They talk about human rights. They talk about, you know, different issues. But at the same time, they are, supporting countries like Saudi Arabia. They are supporting countries like apartheid states like Israel, who are oppressing the Palestinians. So this is the crux of what he talks about. But he's bringing that from a historical perspective, and he's dissecting it down with with a lot of honesty. So Tariq Ali is basically, his views are, he's a socialist, and he's very honest about that as well. And in this book he talks about the American imperialism, how it works, and it's double standards. Sometimes they talk about human rights and democracy, but you will see them supporting Saudi Arabia and Israel, who is a UN, as UN has said, is a human rights violator, by oppressing the Palestinians and not following the two-state solution that is there. And he's basically from Lahore, so he talks about Pakistan and its history. So one of the interesting things that he talks about is creation of Pakistan, and according to his perspective and research, he says that Pakistan was created not because Muslims or the Qadiism wanted a separate nation, or it was created because of the right wing pandering of the Congress party. Now they became a Hindu party, not an Indian National Congress. There was majority of Hindus, and the leadership was very, at the top they were good leaders, but you know in there was a lot of bias towards Muslims, and they were not accepted as a part of the India, as part of the subcontinent, or India. So he talks about that. He says that it was because of Congress. So this was something new for me, because there are a lot of perspectives about Pakistan and its creation. So he said that it was the Congress which was responsible for creation of Pakistan, not like directly Qadism was not responsible, because of their attitude. Qadism had to ask for, or the Muslims had to ask for, a separate land or country. And it also talks about the Arab-Israeli wars, and how Egypt lost to Israel, and the sort of blunders that were committed throughout that era in the 60s and 70s, and especially in 1967 war, Arab-Israeli war, and how that turned out for Gamal Abdel Nasser. So it talks about like the failures of when it comes to the Egyptians and Muslims. At the same time, it talks about like the double standards of Americans, how they supported Israel, and all that. So this book is, I would say, very comprehensive in a way. It also talks about Wahhabism and its root cause, and how it was created, and it's a very deeper, very critical and meticulous understanding of. You will get a very a whole chapter a whole chapter on Wahhabism and its roots, and how Wahhabism and the Saudi family are linked, and how they use it as a as a way of to preserve their national interests. They will use it, like when it came to Afghanistan, they had the Americans, and the same time they have also used it against Americans themselves as well. So there is this nexus between Wahhabism and the royal family, and they are so it's very, I would say, detailed understanding of Wahhabism and how it works. So I would say, you, if you're a student of IR, or if you're very much interested in politics of the world, and if you want, so in my opinion, you should read this book if you want to have a comprehensive understanding of the world. It talks about Muslim countries, West and its wars, and it talks about the military-industrial complex and oil and war. So all sort of history is there. At the same time, he has linked that history with the current contemporary world and the issues that are going on. So you must read this book. It is one gem of a book by Tariq Ali, which is The Clash of Fundamentalism. Thank you.